Yo, 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 guys, let me know if I'm streaming, because I don't know. I'm going to search myself on YouTube to let me know if I'm live or not. I'm going to go to hide and seek. It doesn't say I'm live. I don't know why. Maybe I got to go over here and click. It says I'm online. I don't know. It says I'm there, guys. Let me know if there's a problem. Let me know if you guys can find me. But yeah, if I go to videos, let me know if I'm here, because I can't find them. Draftkings week 2. Basically, if you're just coming in, I don't even know if I'm live yet, which is pretty freaking frustrating. Yeah, give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Yo, what's going on, fam? Cody Marchand from HideandSeek.com. I don't know if I'm live yet. I clicked the stream button, so that's what we're doing. We're just going to dive right into things. We're going to let people hop on a little bit. It's just pretty much a minute before we would normally be going live. Marcus said, you are live. Let me go to make sure that my sound is off, because I don't want to be hearing anything from my own computer. That would be super annoying for you guys. It says I'm live. We live. Looking a little pale today. Did you just not go live? I am looking pale, Marcus. I appreciate you for asking about my well-being. It's all these lights around me. It's dark in the house. It's pretty much wintertime up here in New England. So yeah, I'm a little bit white. I did go live and I couldn't find it. So I shut it off, called my buddy, made sure that I was live, and now I'm back. So that's where that's at. But as we let a few people roll in, I know I got some boys coming to hang out with us. We're just going to be talking to football. You know, we're watching some Thursday night football in about a little bit over an hour. It's 7 o'clock right now. The game starts in an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, something like that. We're just going to all hang out, talk a little bit of football before that starts. We're going to be talking about this Thursday night Showdown Slate game. We're going to be talking about the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Newton, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. Talking about if Greg Olsen is healthy and how healthy is he going to be. We'll talk about the train wreck, a.k.a. the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What should we be doing about Jameis? What can we do with Mike Evans? How healthy is he? I don't really know. I'm just going to go off of, we're live, cool. I just got a Snapchat from somebody, but it's somebody important, so I can look at it. Yeah, anyways, my bad. So, as you're rolling in, ask any question that you got about this slate. Until then, I'm just going to start talking about the slate, what my thought process is on the Thursday night game. Ask any questions. It can be something from, you know, the Thursday night slate. It can be talking about GPPs. It can be talking about cash games. You can ask questions about Sunday in general. You can ask about the whole week. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about it. I know that if I don't answer, we got plenty of people in the chat that can answer you, because I know that we got a good group of guys coming into the chat today to talk fantasy. So let's hop right into it. Let's talk about this game. If you're just joining a little bit late, yo, what's up, Kyle? If you're just joining a little bit late, what we're going in to do is talk about the Thursday night slate first. So let's dive right into that with the most important topic of the night, which is Christian McCaffrey. If this was a full game slate, Christian McCaffrey most likely would be still the highest owned player, even if it was a full slate. Marcus, oh, what's up, Kyle? No, what's up, Marcus? Marcus, if you were paying attention, I said what's up to you first. When you said we live and you said looking a little pale, I said thank you for checking on my well-being. So you clearly aren't paying attention. Just listen, turn your mic, turn your headset up a little bit. We'll dive right in. We got Christian McCaffrey. Like I said, even if this was not just a single game slate, he most likely would have been the highest owned player still. 46 points last week. He had the most touches in the league at 30. He had 19 carries. 19 carries, 10 catches on 11 targets. Kyle, yo, how is the picture quality for everybody else? Are you saying that because it's messed up? I do kind of look a little bit janky, but it's just because through OBS on YouTube Live, I know it's a little bit off. But as long as it's not, as long as you can tell it's me, and you can tell like the stats behind me, you can still see Draftkings and everything, let me know. Because I just want to make sure that's okay. Everything looks great besides Cody. Wow, I appreciate it. That's my true boys right there. That's my true boys. But like I was talking about with Christian McCaffrey, he got the workhorse role last week. You know how he is. If he's on a slate, you got to play him. But the thing is, tonight, obviously, he's going to be close to 100% owned in GPPs, which is pretty ridiculous. And it's tough to navigate because we don't normally have plays like that where there's just one guy that you know is going to be owned in the slate 100%. So it's more navigating towards, do we play him in the flex spot or do we play him in the captain spot, or do we try to fade him completely and go really out on a limb? If you fade him completely, you're going to be fading pretty much 80 to 90% of the public already, which is not a bad strategy. It's just kind of tough for me to fade Christian McCaffrey at his workload. It's a great matchup against Tampa Bay, one of the worst defenses in the league. We're going to be drinking tonight. We're going to be drinking some beers, just hanging out with the boys. But as you can see, the price tag on Christian McCaffrey in the captain spot is kind of crazy at 18.6. If you guys are new to Draftkings, the thing about the captain spot is you pay 1.5 times their salary, but they give you 1.5 times their price. So say week 1 when CMC had 45 points, if he was your captain, he would have given you 60 points. So that's why it's important to have, a player that's actually going to score points in the captain spot, but it costs a lot more. Because look at the difference when I show you Christian McCaffrey, 18.6 at the captain spot, but at the flex spot, it's only 12,400 for CMC. Kyle, crushing some brews, guy. You know how it is. It's always going to be some Michelob Ultras in the stream. But the thing we want to talk about with CMC is some other options, right? So say you want to be different. You don't want to play him. That's fine. It's just tough to leave him off your slate because most likely he's going to get 20-plus points. And in such a concentrated slate where there's just just one game with two teams, having a 20-plus point scorer not in your lineup is really difficult to make money on because it's not one of those games where Cam Newton can have 40, James can have 30, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and then, run it back with maybe Payne Barber or Dario Ogunbowale. There's a lot of different things that can happen, but CMC not being one of the 4 highest scoring players on the slate is really hard to get behind. But if you are entering multiple lineups into this GPP tonight, please do some lineups without Christian McCaffrey. What that would look like for me is maybe something like if Christian McCaffrey's not going to do good, but we know that the matchup's good against Tampa Bay, maybe we'd go with a DJ Moore captain lineup, which is one of my favorite captains, I think, for tonight. I think DJ Moore is going to be my main captain. What do you want a guy no one would take in the captain slot? Absolutely, but the thing is, why is nobody taking them? If there's like a logical reason for no one to have him, then probably not. Like say it's who's a good example? Like Chris Hogan, right? Say I have Chris Hogan at the captain spot. Yeah, he's gonna. My lineup 100% is different from anybody else, right? I can put Cam Newton because I want the correlation there from the passer. I can have OJ Howard on the other team. I can have, pick a running back. We can have Ronald Jones. Let's have Ronald Jones. And then we have 12-2 for a player. So we can go up to McCaffrey and we can get the other opposing quarterback. We have $1,600 left on the table, which most people like to spend their whole entire salary. So leaving $1,600 on the table is going to be different already, and we're not going to share the same slate. The reason that you don't want to share the same lineups with other people is say there's $100,000 to first place and 10 people have the same exact lineup, then each player gets $10,000. It's not like every player wins $100,000. So you want to when you win it, when you have the most points on a slate, you want the whole thing. You don't want to be splitting money with the top players, but at the same time, you don't want to get so different like this slate where you're just not going to get there. Because Chris Hogan probably will not be a good captain because you're wasting. Maybe your opponent has Christian McCaffrey who gets 20 points, so 1.5 times that, right? He gets 30 points for his captain, and you get 0 points for your captain, right? So it's like you can have CMC, he can have CMC, he can have Chris Hogan, you have him, but he has 30 points between the two, and you have 20 points between the two. So that's why it's like it's good to be different, but at the same time, you still try and get the most points scored. I see with that balance in the top right corner, by the way. Thanks for asking, Marcus. If you guys are just joining in, what we're doing this season is called the 1,000 to 10K challenge. I put $1,000 in. I'm showing you every single week what I'm doing to get there. I'm showing you my builds. I'm showing you my results. And basically in week 1, we used 30% of our bankroll, which I wouldn't suggest, but for me to get to 10K in one season, I have to be kind of aggressive. And we put up a really solid score. Yeah, we can leave this. If it shows from last week, I don't know if it does. Let me see if I can show you my lineups last week. Basically I won every single cash game I was in. I put up 193.5 points. My lineup last week was Carson Wentz, Saquon, Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Curtis Samuel, Evan Ingram, Chris Carson, the 49ers defense. So I put in $300 starting with $1,000, and I'm up to almost $1,400. Basically, it's going to be pretty tough to grind this all the way up from 1,000 to 10K, but I'm going to be doing it mostly in cash games head-to-head or triple ups or quadruple ups. I don't really play GPPs in a bankroll challenge like this, but if I do, it's pretty much just for fun. Anyways, I'll go back to this Showdown Slate. Kyle said, I think if you look at it for $1 per point, even with the 1.5x, that's all that really matters. Melita Goat, what's up, man? I was just talking to you on Instagram. It's dope that you came to check out the stream. Everybody say what's up to Melita. You got any questions on the slate? Are you playing this slate? Do you play Draftkings often? Are you kind of just a main slate type guy? I don't know why I backed out of there. Let me go into Draft Stream. GPP, meaning it is a tournament. Basically, it is a guaranteed prize pool. So see right here. Here, I'll back out so I can show you what I'm talking about, and I can explain it to Marcus and anybody else that might be confused. Is you see this when I'm in the lobby for DraftKings, you see this G next to the total prizes? That means it's a guaranteed contest, right? Anything with a G means that they're guaranteed DraftKings no matter what. Say this tournament got 2 entries. They have to pay out $300K no matter what. So if it only got 2 entries, first place gets $200K, second place gets $100K, no matter what, even if they only buy in for $10, which never happens. Most likely, they're paying out, say, $300,000 in prizes. There's $400,000 worth of buy-ins. They take $100,000 of what we call rake, which they take like a fee for running the site and running the contest. And just a GPP means it's a guaranteed prize pool, means it's a tournament. There's multiple players joining it. You're not trying to beat one people. As you can see with entries, you're trying to beat 35,000 people, which means that you have to be a lot different with your lineups. Kyle said, yo, Melita, give Melita some hype in the chat. But yeah, that's what a GPP is. It's just a tournament. It's not a cash game, which a cash game you're most likely playing against one player or 2 or 3. Pretty much, winning maybe 3 or 4 times your money at most. When in a GPP, say you ship it, you bank a tournament, you're putting in $10, taking home $100K, which there's a reason that I don't play a lot of GPPs because it's tough to grind a bankroll because you have a much lower % chance to win that. And if I think I have an edge in cash, I can just, play that every week and eventually I'm going to grind that to my target goal and there's going to be much less variance. But that's pretty much what that is. But how great is it to have football back in general, guys? Week 1 was sick. If you don't know a lot about me, one of my favorite players in the NFL is Sammy Watkins. Watching him go out there and ball for, almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns is great. It was cool to sit down for 10 hours in front of my TV, watch Red Zone all day. And then as soon as the games ended, well, it didn't come out right away, but on Monday, rewatch all the games on NFL Game Pass, watch them, 30 minutes each. I watched a lot of football, guys, and it's so great to have it back after, 7-8 months of no football. Let me know one guy that you're really expecting this weekend to explode. So week 1, it was Hollywood Brown, it was Sammy Watkins, it was John Brown, it was Deshaun Jackson. Who is the Deshaun Jackson of week 2? Kyle says, yo, Cody, can you run through your quarterback picks for this week? I assume he doesn't mean on the Thursday night slate. I assume he's talking more on the entire week for my Sunday slate, my main slate lineup, which I can do. If you guys want to check out my entire player pool, go on hindzik.com and right down here where you see DFS weekly rankings, just click on quarterback rankings, or up here go to DFS rankings. It'll tell you my player pool. It'll show you notes on the player. It'll show you their opponent. It'll show you what the Vegas total is for that game. I was showing you my player pool. As you can see real quick, my favorite players on this slate are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Tom Brady when it comes to my main player pool. And I'll show you why. Let's go to the Sunday main slate. Let's build a team. DJ Moore is this week's Deshaun Jackson. Marcus, you are right. Like I said, which I'll get back to when we get back to the Thursday Night Showdown, DJ Moore is my favorite captain on this slate. He had 10 targets in week 1, which that's all I really care about because, yeah, he only had 7 catches for 73 yards and a fumble loss. So I think he only had like 12 points or something like that on Draftkings. And that's going to keep his ownership a bit lower. But 10 targets on someone as explosive as DJ Moore is so good. And he can easily have a game where he has 7 targets and go for 150 and 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore is my favorite captain tonight. Yo, Adam Tack in the chat. Let's go. Say what's up to Adam. Opinion on Terry McLaurin for DraftKings or for season long. He was one of my... All right, let me just show you guys something which I have not touched in a while. I have a spreadsheet on my computer just from back in the day, 2019 NFL Draft, where I went over all my prospects when I did film on everybody. If you check my wide receivers, right? I love Terry McLaurin. Obviously, I didn't have him as high as some of these players. I didn't have him as high as my top 2 rated players in N'Keal Harry and Marquise Brown. Those are my guys at 9.2. But Terry McLaurin, I said that, everyone was so high on Paris Campbell out of the same school. But I like Terry McLaurin a lot better. I said he's 6 feet, 205. He's sudden as a route runner. And what that means is he has really quick breaks he's really quick in and out of his breaks. He's really efficient. He doesn't have any wasted movement. He has short area quickness. He has all right hands, which I did note. He's very twitchy, and his best trait is his separation skills, which, as you can see, this last edit was on April 29th, which, that was just my initial, I didn't see any preseason. I didn't see any training camp. But after seeing him, I'm even more excited about Terry McLaurin. I think that, he has really great skills himself. And I think that one thing that people kind of had question marks on was Case Keenum. And Case Keenum looked great, had like almost 400 passing yards. He was efficient. He got the ball out of his hands quick. The offensive line is going to struggle a little bit without Trent Williams. But Terry McLaurin with 7 targets. He led the team with 93% of snaps run. But yeah, Marcus, let me show you something I haven't touched in a while. I thought we were going to get chat roulette. Chat roulette? Why did you think chat roulette was coming? But back to Kyle's question real quick. Going over my quarterbacks for this week, who I haven't played for cash. Remember, this is cash, not GPPs. GPPs are a little bit different because I'm worried about ownership, aka I don't want to have, say I think Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are the best 2 plays on the slate. A lot of other people are going to think the same thing, and they're going to be highly owned. So I'm probably not going to be using those 2 players on cash unless I get some correlation with some lower owned guys like, Josh Allen at quarterback and John Brown at receiver, where if John Brown has a big day, it's most likely because Josh Allen does as well, and they can kind of double stack points. Why does it look like that? Let me know if what I see right now and what you guys see right now are both super blurry, because it looks super bad on my screen. And let me know if that just happened, because I haven't been paying attention. But I'll just keep talking about my quarterbacks for cash. Until then, we're going to talk about Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Yes, he's going to be very highly owned. That's how it was when we started. Then it came back into focus. All right, cool. Well, if you're around, just just hold on for a little bit. Maybe it's just because I have like a lot of tabs open, so I'll try to, close as much shit as I can. I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes right now. We're talking about, my favorite plays in cash. We're going to be a little bit safer. The reason that Patrick Mahomes is one of my favorite plays is because he just went into Jacksonville. He made that defense look pretty bad. 33 pass attempts, 25 completions, 76 completion percentage, almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. He looks just as good as he did last year. Damn, that's really bothering me, the video. But I'm just going to power through it. Whatever, it is what it is. Patrick Mahomes had 30 points in week 1. It's a much easier matchup at Oakland. I understand that Joe Flacco didn't do good against Oakland last week, but Joe Flacco is much different. Do you like stacking Josh Allen and John Brown this week in cash? Adam says no blurriness here. Dope. As long as you guys don't get the blurriness, I don't care if it looks like shit for me. If it looks good for you, that's all that matters. And I do like, in cash you said. Do I like stacking them in cash? So one of the things about the difference between GPPs, which is tournaments, or cash, I can make out what the words, but just talk through it. Okay. The difference between cash and tournaments is you want correlation in tournaments. What correlation is basically say you think that Sammy Watkins, which is a great example because he's just so good. Say you think Sammy Watkins is going to have a 2-touchdown day. You think he's going to have a 3-touchdown day, right? And you want to play Sammy Watkins. Well, if Sammy Watkins has a 3-touchdown day, what do you think about his quarterback? He has at least 3 touchdowns, right? And that's what I mean by correlation, where on your tournament slate, if you think a receiver is going to go off, you probably want his quarterback. And have even more correlation if you think that one team's quarterback and receiver goes off, they're probably going to be putting up a lot of points, which means the other team has to put up a lot of points as well. So one thing I would do for correlation is run this stack back with Tyrell Williams for the Raiders. Because say I think that these two are putting up 3 touchdowns, Oakland's going to have to, keep up the pace somehow, right? Maybe Tyrell Williams has a big game. Maybe Darren Waller. Maybe, it doesn't matter who you think is going to have the big game, but just know that if these 2 Kansas City Chiefs players have really big games, then most likely Oakland players are going to have a big game out of somebody to keep pace or to, just keep scoring touchdowns. And that's why I have Tyrell Williams, where it's like, say I think just on random, I say Tom Brady's going to be the highest scoring quarterback, and I think, Dalvin Cook's going to be the highest scoring running back, and then maybe Amari Cooper's going to be the best receiver. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Say they're all if they all are the best at the position, it'll win. But if you have that random Hollywood Brown from week 1 where you think he's going to go off, and you stack him with Lamar Jackson, who's throwing him the touchdown passes and all those yards, you're going to be at such an advantage over the field that you have leverage on them, and you can make a lot more money and a lot more high-scoring lineups than they can because you have the combination of the quarterback and the receiver. In cash game, it's a little bit different because correlation works positively and negatively. When it can work negatively is where, say, in cash, we'll start with any running back. Say we have Alvin Kamara and, Austin Eckler. Say they both have 30-point days. So you have 60 points out of your 2 running backs. And then you said, I really like Josh Allen, which is a good example because I love Josh Allen this week, and you want to stack him with John Brown. I like both of them, right? But say Josh Allen and John Brown didn't perform. Say the Giants' defense just showed up, right? They just balled out. Josh Allen had only 150 yards passing. He didn't really do much on the ground. He had 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So you're getting a 5-point day out of your quarterback, which is fine if all the rest of your team goes off, but you correlated him with his receiver. So if Josh Allen has an awful day, no touchdowns, John Brown has 0 touchdowns, and he had a low yardage day. John Brown most likely has a low yardage day. So now you're killing your cash game lineup negatively with correlation, where we're trying to reduce variance instead of increasing variance. And that's the main idea that you guys need to be taking from this video, is that in cash, you don't want variance, you don't want risk. In tournaments, you want variance and you want risk. because variance makes it so that you can have leverage over your opponents. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'll go back to the original question if nobody's asking any questions in the chat. The original question was, who are my favorite quarterbacks this week in cash? I had number 1, Josh Allen at 5,300 against the Giants. According to PFF, this is the second worst defense. They had a really hard time in week 1 getting after the quarterback in pass rush. They had a really hard time defending the pass in the secondary. The Giants are just a bad team. Josh Allen isn't my favorite quarterback, but it's one of the better matchups. And he's still at 10 carries in week 1, so I like what he can do on the ground in terms of fantasy potential. One of my other quarterbacks we already talked about was Patty Mahomes. I'm not worried about spending up this week at $7,500 for Patrick Mahomes because I think a lot of the chalk this week will land on Lamar Jackson at $6,700. And I like Lamar Jackson, but if I can spend up $800 in cash to get, the floor that Patrick Mahomes has of like 22 points instead of the floor Lamar Jackson has of, maybe 12 points, I'm doing that all day. Yes, Lamar Jackson's playing in a smash spot in the, higher paced game because Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals will run, 70 to 80 plays in this game, forcing the Baltimore Ravens to do the same, they're probably going to be the 2 highest paced playing teams in the league. So this is a really good fantasy game to be a part of. I understand that, but I would rather pay up for the stud and Patrick Mahomes if it's between the 2. I'm either going to most likely go Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but in the middle, I do like all of Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and Tom Brady. Let's quickly touch on Tom Brady because the Miami Dolphins just got shellacked by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens just a few days ago. They look like they're like a 21-point favorite as of right now, which is kind of ridiculous to say the least. But the one problem with Brady that we can't count on is they're going to need him to pass, right? He looked great. 3 touchdowns, 125 passer rating. He might be getting AB for this game. We don't know with all his allegations going on right now. But the problem with Tom Brady is there's a possibility that Patriots just kill the Dolphins and it's a Sonny Michel type day, which is fine. But I don't actually see that happening. I think that Tom Brady is going to have one of his better years of his career. And I know it's week 1. I don't want to overreact, but you can just tell with the type of team that the Patriots look like they want to be. The weapons we have in Josh Gordon, Julian Edelman, Antonio Brown, eventually N'Keal Harry, James White. Yeah, we're going to want to pound the rock. We're going to want to control the game time. But I think that Tom Brady is going to have one of those 30 to 40 passing touchdowns type season. So I can easily see a multi-touchdown game coming from Brady. Other quarterbacks, I would pencil Tom in for 3 touchdowns in the first half. That's what I'm saying. Where it's, you're worried that he's gonna, not make it out of the first half. But the thing is, he can get 3 touchdowns in the first half. So even if he plays just a half, which he won't, that's not how the Patriots play. Even if he plays just a half, he can come out with 25 fantasy points. And he's smashing value at $6,400 already. You guys know how it is. We're looking for 3 times salary at the quarterback position. Kyle says, can you break down the 3 running backs for Tampa Bay tonight? Yeah, let's go back to that game. Let's go back to the Thursday night showdown. Basically, the 3 running backs are Dare Ogunbowale. Patriots play 60 minutes of football every Sunday. That's what I like to hear, Marcus. Dare Ogunbowale, Ronald Jones, and Peyton Barber. I had a cool stat that I tweeted at Hide and Zeke. Basically, it was almost directly, perfectly split in threes. 33% playing time or snap share between all 3 of the running backs, Peyton Barber, Ronald Jones, Dare Ogunbowale. There's things that you need to know from both sides. If you're trying to pick the best player and the best, I think that Ronald Jones will be the highest owned player out of the 3, right? I think that Dare will be the second highest owned player, and I think Peyton Barber is the worst play at the highest price. But guys, if we're going to be playing GPPs, what did we just talk about? We talked about being different from the field and gaining leverage. The best way to do that is to understand that most of the field is going to be playing Dario Ogunbowale or Ronald Jones. How do we get different? How do we get leverage on the field? Say that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers changed their offense a bit because they lost in week 1, and they say, all right, we want to run the ball more with Peyton Barber. That's very likely. People want to say, oh, Ronald Jones is the more talented player, but coaches aren't always the most rational people in the world. It's not like they always say, oh, he's the best player. You guys see it, we see it. He's going to get the playing time. No, coaches are stubborn. They make mistakes. There's a very good chance Peyton Barber goes out there. They run down. Mike Evans has like a 60-yard catch down at the 2. Hand it to Peyton Barber, 2-yard touchdown. Chris Godwin has a 43-yard catch down at the 3-yard line. Peyton Barber, 3-yard touchdown. So Peyton Barber, that no one owns, has 2 touchdown games tonight, right? What if you have him in your captain? Everyone has CMC. CMC has 85 rushing yards, 5 catches for 40 yards, right? Give him 17 points. And you have Peyton Barber with 18 points and you're captain. And you're already different from 95% of the field. You have such a leverage play on the entire field where I'm not saying that Peyton Barber is the best play because on paper he's definitely not. I like Ogunbowale a hell of a lot more than Peyton Barber, but it's just important to understand the leverage of the 3. If we're talking strictly who do I like the best, the things I do like about Dario Ogunbowale is when it comes to, he didn't get any carries, but he had 6 targets in the passing game. Most of the time you get targets. Most of the time you get targets when you're losing in a game. What do we think is going to happen in this game? When it comes down to making a lineup for a showdown slate like this, the most important thing, I cannot stress this enough, the most important thing is to go into it with a game plan of how the game is going to flow. Do we think the Panthers are going to come out and lead right away? And what do you think? What does that happen, right? So let's break it down because this is how you got to be thinking about the game. First series, let's go super in detail. First series, coin toss. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers win, they defer. Panthers ball first. Panthers go down, they score. DJ Moore, 40-yard touchdown. So that's the first thing we got to think about. We think that DJ Moore has a 40-yard touchdown and Cam Newton throws it. Cool, 7-0. We think that the Buccaneers try to come out, they try to establish a running game, try to be a little bit different. Say we think that the Carolina stops them. They punt the ball. Carolina drives down and they kick a field goal. It's already 10-0. Now Tampa Bay starts thinking, okay, we're down 10-0. There's 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Let's start passing the ball. Jameis throws a pick. Panthers go down. CMC runs in a touchdown. 17-0. Now what do we think Tampa Bay is most likely to do? Pound the rock with Peyton Barber or put in Dario Ogunbowale in passing situations to start throwing the ball? We think that's 17-0. We think Dario's going to be getting the ball. We think Mike Evans is going to be getting the ball. We think Jameis is going to be dropping back to pass. What happens when a quarterback drops back to pass 45-plus times in a game? That means that the defensive line has 45-plus opportunities to get sacks, hurries, fumbles, interceptions. So maybe we think that the Panthers' defense is a good play. So do you guys understand how, already going through this, we can see how us really going through the game and forecasting how it's going to break down will really affect our decisions in our slate? I think that that's one of the most important things we can do. LOL, was the coin flip heads or tails? I don't know. Really good call with going into a game plan and how to adjust your lineup. Thanks, Marcus. What coverage are they running? Damn, Kyle, we're not going to break it down like that. I'm just saying, you just need to know. You guys have to have a plan or an idea of how the game's going to turn out. Jameis picks or noon touchdowns tonight. Which has more? All right, guys, stop hating on my boy Jameis Winston. And I know that it's just kind of like a Florida State fan type thing. I loved him back in the day. I still think he's good. He's not like a Tom Brady. But you guys saw the game. He has no offensive line help. Yeah, he's a bonehead. He makes some pretty dumb decisions with the football. But Jameis Winston picks is only going to be at I think a good over-under is 2. Do you think he has? No, it's 1.5. Marcus, if it was 1.5, Would you bet on the over or under for Jameis Winston interceptions? Adam, you dropped Jameis for Josh Allen. I like that a lot for this week, especially because I like Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks for cash. I think that the Giants defense... Yo, Ken, what's going on? Everyone say what's up to Ken. Haven't talked to Ken in a while. Well, I mean, haven't seen him on the live stream yet. But that's my boy. He knows what's going on. Marcus, say what's up to Ken. Kyle, say what's up to Ken. That's dope. It's cool to be hanging out with all my friends here. We're talking about all the games. Yo, Adam, say what's up to Ken. Let's go. Yeah, so we're just basically going through, Ken, if you haven't known, we're basically going through the Thursday night slate. We're also talking about the Sunday. So if there's anything that you have to share, please drop it because Ken's the man when it comes to all the slates. Me and him go back and forth on Twitter. We talk about who our favorite plays are, who we think high ownership's going to be, where we want to fade. He knows his shit when it comes to Draftkings. Kyle said you missed him going McVay on game flow, lol. Dude, I was breaking down the game flow, and then Marcus wanted to talk shit and say I'm bad at spike ball, which it is what it is. I mean, I love that game, and I think I'm pretty good, but let's just talk shit because that's what we're here for. Basically what I was saying, Ken, is that we want to go into the Thursday night slate with a game plan of how the game's going to go. I was breaking down, like, say we think, the first few series, Panthers come out strong with, like, a DJ Moore 40-yard touchdown. Say they score a few more points after a Tampa Bay turnover, and 17-0 early. We think that the game flow is going to be Carolina playing with a big lead and Tampa Bay playing, as a 17-point dog, which means that Tampa Bay is going to be throwing the ball a lot more, and Carolina's going to be a bit more conservative. So I was just explaining that, to know something like that going into it really affects who you play. Because if you think that, the Carolina's not going to have their foot on the gas, maybe you want to be off of DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel, but maybe you think that they got to that 17-point lead on a 2-touchdown Curtis Samuel performance, then I want to play him. A lot of people always want to play the dogs in the games because they think that they're going to be trailing, they're going to be passing. But they get to be a dog in a certain way. Just like this, like I was saying with Tom Brady. Yeah, they're 21-point favorites over the Dolphins, but they're going to win by 21 points because of touchdowns. And there's a good chance that Tom Brady, as the quarterback of the team, is going to count for a majority of those touchdowns. Yes, Sony Michel can do his thing, but there's a good chance also that Tom Brady just lights them up in the passing game. Marcus said, never wins game of 21 until Marcus moves 2,000 miles away. I love it. But yeah, I'm going to go away from this Thursday night. Actually, no, let me just break down a little bit of this Thursday night game first. I'm in a pickle this week. Have a couple options at wide receiver. Marcus, drop them. Who are you talking about? I know that a lot of people are going to have some opinions for you. Kyle said, do you ever play the Thursday through Sunday or Monday slate? What's the advantage or disadvantage to doing this? So what he's talking about is, right here, this is a Thursday night only GPP. But say we want to go to DraftKings, we go to what slate? The Sunday main slate. Or if you go over a little bit, you can play the Thursday through Monday slate, which I kind of like because I like playing the Thursday through Monday slate because people don't take advantage of the early and late games. They still play the Sunday slate mainly, right? And I think you can take advantage of late news on Monday night players. You can take advantage of having the leverage on Thursday that a lot of people aren't going to have. And take advantage of the pricing where, realistically, I think CMC is the number one play on this entire slate. When it comes to price, I would much rather have Kamara at 8,200 than CMC at 9,400. But being able to get up to CMC, who could easily have a 40-point night tonight against Tampa Bay, is a lot different than your normal, Sunday-only slates where for me at least, the only number one option at running back that I want to get to is Kamara. But this gives you options where any player in any matchup you can get up to, which means, like, say, we heard, which is a good example right here. We heard that Sam Darnold and even possibly Le'Veon Bell might not play for the Jets this week. For the Jets this weekend. and the Browns are 3,200 on defense, which it's a bad example because it's defense, and I don't really care about my defense ever in DraftKings. But late news, maybe it's Ty Montgomery, maybe it's if Trevor Siemian wasn't awful, maybe it was Trevor Siemian. You know what I mean? So take advantage of late news where people might already have set their lineups for these weeks. You already have an advantage over those type of people. You can't assume that because you do your homework, you study, you watch YouTube videos on it, that everybody else does the same thing. You're going to be playing against a lot of people that just go on DraftKings to deposit $100, play some cash games, play some tournaments, and just literally put in players that they like. And they don't really understand the inner workings of DFS. And that's one thing that's really changed for me over the last year is I always think, wow, everybody has the same thoughts as me, so maybe in week 1 I can't be on Dalvin Cook because he's so chalk. But the thing is, he's only chalk to me and the rest of the industry because we're really diving into things. We see how good the matchup is. A lot of people see Dalvin Cook and they say, oh, he was hurt last year and he's playing against like an all-right defense. You know what I mean? You shouldn't, in cash games, you shouldn't get too carried away with ownership and thinking that, the whole field is on the same players that you are. Yo, David, what's up, bro? Marcus said, would you play Chris Godwin and DJ Moore or John Brown? Would you play Godwin, DJ Moore, or John Brown? So, pick 2 of the 3? Yo, what's up, David? Do I play Ted Ginn this week? All right. For those of you that don't know, David's my boy. He's in our home league. Drafted Ted Ginn in the 10th round. We gave him so much shit for drafting Ted Ginn. Ted Ginn Jr. in the 10th round, right? I have a 10-team league. So you know how bad that is. And then our boy, Ted Ginn, plays on Monday Night Football and goes for 100 yards. And we're just in a group chat, and he's just flaming us because, we're just giving him so much shit for Ted Ginn. And this dude is just looking at us like, yeah, I know something that you don't know, and you guys are the one that pay attention to football. That's who David is. But, yeah, Marcus, let me know. Do you need to play 2 out of the 3, or do you need to play 1 out of the 3 of Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, and John Brown? If I have to pick 1, it's DJ Moore. Wow, that sucks. I like all 3 of those guys. John Brown's one of my favorite plays this week, but I can't see myself benching. I can't bench Chris Godwin because the slot corner for the Carolina Panthers is not that good. I can't bench DJ Moore because he got 10 targets. Wow, and so did John Brown. I think he has a good game. That sucks. That's really tough. I guess I benched John Brown, but I don't know if that's the right decision. But going back to Kyle's question about do I play the Thursday through Sunday, Monday slate and what's the advantage? I think there's a huge advantage to doing it. I don't think I do it enough. If you look at my contest, I don't typically play it. I typically play just the Sunday main slate. Yeah, I'll throw in some money just for fun on the Thursday night GPPs or the Monday night Showdown Slate, but those aren't for my bankroll challenge right here. If you see my balance, I don't know if I told you guys, but I'm trying to do, $1,000 to $10,000 bankroll challenge this season. I would never play those tournaments if I'm in a bankroll challenge or if I'm trying to, actually make money at this because there's such high variance. If you don't have a certain amount of bankroll, it's just not worth your money. If you have, $4,000 to $5,000 to spend every single weekend, I think there is good value in those tournaments. Don't want to play both Thursday night, though, Oh, yeah, say you start Chris Godwin and DJ Moore. Yeah, but it's not a problem because John Brown is just a Sunday game. Yeah, it just kind of sucks because, you can have that thing where, they both go off tonight and your matchup's already over. Say DJ Moore has a 30-point day and Godwin does too. You're up 60 points, and those aren't even your 2, top 4-round picks, right? You probably if you got those 4, they're most likely 5th or 6th round picks or 4th and 5th round picks. So if you put up 60 points, your matchup's pretty much over because say you have Alvin Kamara still to play, Travis Kelce, and say Keenan Allen. Say those are your first 3 round picks, then you have these guys. That means you still have them, and you have 60-point lead. You win the matchup, but say they just suck. I kind of like it because say they do suck, right? you already know that you're in a hole, so you can be riskier at other positions. So say it's like John Brown versus, it's a bad example, but say Julian Edelman, right? Julian Edelman is, guaranteed his 10, 11 targets, his 7 catches for 70 yards. If you're out by 60, that's a slam dunk. Give me my 14 points and I'll get out of there. But say I'm down, say DJ Moore and Chris Godwin, you play both of them. They both lay eggs. Let me put in, the riskier play a wide receiver so that I have a chance to get that, 60, not 60. So I get that chance to have that 30-point game to make that comeback. Marcus says, I have Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, and Jacobs at running back, and Darren Waller. I think that he's just showing off because he didn't even ask a question. He's just like letting us know who he's got on the squad. Good for you, my guy. I like Darren Waller. I like I like Josh Jacobs. But yeah, he's just showing off. That's just that type of guy. But yeah, talking about the Monday through the Thursday through Monday slates, I think you get a good advantage of playing them. I should do it more, and I'm going to take my own advice and do it. Marcus with the ridiculous running backs. Yeah, Ken, that's how Marcus is. Marcus has a really great draft. Every single draft, I look at his team and say, yeah, that should be a top 3 team. And then week 1, he's like, all right, let me pick up like a really random player and drop John Brown. All right, I'll pick up John Brown now that you dropped him. And he's like, all right, you know what? Nick Chubb isn't really performing that well. I'm kind of worried about him. Let me trade him for Devontae Freeman. And then Nick Chubb's like the RB2 the rest of the season. No matter what Marcus has done the last few years, he starts off with a really good team. A few bad decisions like a dominoes. He's like, all right, his team just like goes, woo, boom. That's just how he runs it. I ain't tuning in next week. He's so mad. Bring up John Brown because me and him, Marcus is in my home league. And he drops John Brown like halfway through the first game. And I texted him. I said, yo, why'd you drop John Brown? Because I was just looking at him to see his stats. I picked him up. And then John Brown just goes off for the rest of the game. And he's like, then he offers me a trade right after the game for John Brown. It was awesome. Kyle says, but for real though, Bitcoin or David says, not related to DraftKings. I have both Godwin and Evans in my other league. Who do I try to trade if the Bucks don't pan out? It depends. I think that Mike Evans has more value. So say you're weak at another position, you want to get a stud, I would go Mike Evans. Say you need depth and just players to show up your roster, Chris Godwin would still get you a pretty good price back. So say you're looking in like the David Montgomery range, there's a good chance that a player like that kind of fizzled out week 1 would be on the table for Chris Godwin. But it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a high-end player, I would trade Mike Evans. If you're looking for depth or, solid upside players like David Montgomery type players, I would trade Chris Godwin. Yo, check out the previous post for the Bitcoin reference, guys. Nope. Do you cash out a Bitcoin? DraftKings bet me over with fees last year. I turned like $250 to $700, and they let me cash out $500 after everything. He probably won't. Kyle just trashes on people who when they can't rebuttal. He probably won't. Kyle I must have missed something. I must have missed a comment because you guys just confused me a lot with those sentiments. But let me just forget about that. Let me go over who I like in this slate overall. Let me talk about my favorite values at a few different positions. One thing that's important that people love to hate on is defenses in DraftKings. I think that there's a few plays that people are not going to be on this week. I know that San Francisco was, highly owned last week, but that was my 100% lock of the week. They had 27 points. It was a great play. One of the plays this week, and let me just explain a little bit of how I think about defenses. We're going to cans, but let me just explain a little bit about how I think about defenses. The way that defenses score points is the more opportunity the offense has to throw the ball, the better for the defense scoring fantasy points. Which means, say the quarterback is Russell Wilson, he drops back 30 times, or Kyler Murray, he drops back 54 times. Which has a higher opportunity to score fantasy points? Obviously, the defense going against Kyler Murray. Say Kyler Murray has one extra touchdown than Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson has no turnovers, no sacks, whatever. I'd rather have the defense that has 54 chances to rush the passer. So I'm looking for teams that have a great front seven that can rush the passer very well, they want to be able to generate pressure. They want to be able to generate turnovers. They want to be able to generate sacks. One of the most underplayed defenses this week, which I like, it sucks because I'm a huge Deshaun Watson fan, but it's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Where are they? At 2,400. They're coming off a negative 4-point outing, which would just kill you. Like, just leave the spot open, which you can't, but just leave the spot open and you do way better. But 2,400 against a good offense like Houston. The problem is that Houston let up the most pressure in week 1, which means Deshaun Watson, on almost 50% of his throws, was under pressure, which is really bad. Yes, they have Laramie Tunsil, but that offensive line is still very shaky. I don't care how much I love Deshaun Watson. The opportunity for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Calais Campbell, I was going to say Malik Jackson, but he's not there anymore. I was going to say Dante Fowler, he's not there anymore. Josh Allen is there, the defensive end, but I think that Jacksonville Jaguars have a great chance to rush the passer a ton this week. I think that, Deshaun Watson can have turnovers. I think that he drops back, and the best chance to get, 3+ sacks on this slate under 3K is most likely Jacksonville. Think you could give us some examples of your lineups this week in the Discord chat? Yeah, for sure. I definitely can. If you're not in the Discord chat, just look in the description of this video. I think that I did link it. I might not. Oh, yep, I have. I can see the video myself. If it says join this squad's Discord chat, you can see us all. Most people in the chat right now are in the Discord, so come hang out, come ask your questions. We'll be there. But yeah, if you want to know my player pool, for right now, I have it completely free on hindzeek.com. You just go to DFS lineups or DFS projections. I don't know what I called it. And I literally rank every single player at all the positions where I'm thinking about quarterback, what I'm thinking about my receivers. Everything's on the site, so just go there to see my player pool, or just DM me on Twitter. Because if you ask Ken, if you ask Ben Hartley, if you ask Marcus, literally you can just DM me and we'll just talk about our lineups completely free. Like, I'm not one of those guys that just puts out content and I'll hide my players that I like. Because I don't care. I just want to talk to you guys about who I like. I like Houston defense this week. Yeah, I think people are way overhyping Gardner Minshew. Like I was showing before, Ken, you weren't on the stream yet, but I was talking about my grades of the incoming rookies, and Gardner Minshew was not on my top 10 in quarterbacks. So, yeah, he might have played well in week 1, but it was against the Chiefs. Houston defense looks lacking now that they lost Jadeveon Clowney, they lost Kevin Johnson, they lost another corner, but the amount of pressure that they're going to be able to put on Gardner Minshew, especially in the game where they should be leading, is great. Just like he said, that's what I'm looking for. A defense that could be leading by a touchdown or more is more likely to be facing passing attempts. Passing attempts is the number one way to generate fantasy points for a defense. So that's why he's thinking in the right direction for sure. Ken says, Gardner Minshew is a decent quarterback, but Houston at home and they will game plan. For sure. That's one thing that we wrote about on hindzeek.com last year is the correlation between defenses and playing at home or on the road. Pretty much, which it's kind of counterintuitive because I just said I like the Jaguars at Houston. If you had just played defenses at home last season, there's I think they scored on average 2.4 more points compared to away defenses. That's pretty much what I look for. If you just want to play safe, you don't want to go dive too deep into the numbers, just play a defense at home that's favored, and you're pretty solid. Almost always play D's at home. That's what I'm saying. It's it just ends up being that way where the defenses perform better at home. Maybe it's the crowd, maybe it's the noise, maybe it's the they're bigger Vegas favorites at home. Whatever it is, just for some reason at home, defenses do typically put up more points at home. But who cares about defense? We'll dive a little bit more. Got to be the crowd. Yeah, if you ask Seattle, it's the 12s. Let's dive. We talked about quarterbacks for a little bit. Let's talk about running backs. Where I can see a lot of chalk going is to Josh Jacobs at 4,700. And rightfully so. It's a good matchup. KC struggles to defend the running back position. He leads the league in red zone attempts with 8 for the entire NFL. He had 23 carries, 2 touchdowns. This team's going to establish themselves on the run. They're going to establish themselves on the ground, And I think Josh Jacobs at 4,700 is the type of chalk that I will be eating this week. But I think a lot of this Oakland team will be chalky. That means Derek Carr. That means Darren Waller. And that means Tyrell Williams. Ken says I'm going with 4 Raider game stack and cash. LOL. And it's fine too. You can easily stack. I assume, you can tell me if I'm wrong, Ken. I assume that it looks something like this. It looks like Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, Tyrell Williams. Let me guess the 4th. I mean, it could be Derek Carr for sure because he's in an up-tempo paced game. Probably cheap because I haven't even looked at Derek Carr, to be honest. Am I just missing him? Derek Carr, is this your 4? Because I don't hate that. The thing is, the reason a lot of people are going to be on this Kansas City Chiefs versus Oakland Raiders game is because there's going to be a high over-under in Vegas. Oakland sucks on defense and Kansas City sucks on defense. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be one of those ping-pong games, right, where Kansas City scores, maybe Oakland scores, Kansas City scores. So if it is that type of game, you want to be game stacking this. You want to be one of those players that have 6 out of your 9 players in this game because say you think it's going to be that type of game, Ken, to be honest, if you do stack these 4, it would be really hard for me not to run this back with, maybe Sammy Watkins and it sounds crazy, but I could easily run this back with both Sammy Watkins and a tight end in my flex. Because if I think that I want to play these guys because it's going to be a high-scoring game, ping-pong match, that means that Sammy Watkins and or Travis Kelce are going to have monster games. And the reason that you're taking Carr over Mahomes is because just the lower ownership, which if it's that ping-pong type game, Mahomes is going to be good, but if you can get on Carr when everyone's on Mahomes, you can get that leverage over the field. Thoughts on Fournette this week without Foles? I know we just touched on this game. I like Foles. I like Fournette even with or without Foles. He was the third highest usage running back in the entire league, behind Le'Veon Bell and Christian McCaffrey when it comes to percentage of teams carries or percentage of teams targets at the running back position. Leonard Fournette is just dominant. He's on the field all the time. His efficiency is going to be pretty low. It's not the greatest matchup in DFS. I'm not really looking at Leonard Fournette. Here, I'm gonna have this opened up in the background so I can tell you exactly who I am looking at that position. David says, before we leave today, can we get a Shoe Nice performance? Wow, Shoe Nice back in the day. Shoe Nice YouTuber that literally just takes bottles of vodka and just chugs a fifth or even a handle in 5 seconds. That was so funny back in the day. Shout out to Shoe Nice. Marcus says Derek Carr. I won't, but there are great values there. I think he's talking about Ken, what are you talking about? I won't do 4 stack, but may have a couple. Basically, he's saying that you can get there, but he's not actually going to get there. But I agree. You can easily get to Derek Carr, Tyrell, Josh Jacobs, and Darren Waller. The other tight end guys that we need to be talking about that's going to be a lot of pretty chalky is TJ Hawkinson because he got the min salary designation at 3K. He had 9 targets in week 1, 131 yards and touchdown. Guys, there's a reason he was picked in the top 10. He's a beast. I think I like Hawkinson a little bit more than Waller in week 1 unless I was stacking this game in this way. But they're both great picks. I think those are the 2 places I'm going at tight end this week. You'll find Derek Carr at the top of the leaderboards. No, you won't, Marcus. David says, pretty sure he's dead now. Wow, no way. Shoe Nice. Dead? That's the first thing that comes up is Shoe Nice dead? Apparently, the YouTube famous Shoe Nice quit drink. Everyone knows he's the middle-aged dude. Chugs. No way. Did he really die, David? Why'd you just have to bring down the stream like that? My God, you ever see the one where he eats a burning candle? All right, we'll try to get back on topic. Ken says, I think Houston tries to take out Leonard Fournette. Yeah, I mean, that's what you should do, right? If you're the opposing defense, because you want to be forcing Gardner Minshew into throwing the ball more and more. LMAO, my fault. Marcus has natural selection, so does Kyle. Yeah, I mean, getting to Shoe Nice, yeah. I mean, some guy that literally chugs a handle of alcohol in 6 seconds for a living. You know, he only has a certain life expectancy, but we're not going to be getting too much into that. But, yeah, my two tight ends I'm really looking at are, Darren Waller and TJ Hawkinson. In GPPs, I am looking to leverage up. I want to be paying more for either Travis Kelce or Evan Ingram. The reason being because a lot of people are going to be on TJ Hawkinson and Darren Waller, so I want to leverage that. When people zig, I want to zag. When people spend down a tight end, I want to spend up. So let me spend, $7,300 on Travis Kelce in GPPs. Andrews too. Is Andrews a min play? Yeah, Andrews at $3,800 right here. The thing about Andrews, it kind of sucks. He's an anomaly, right? Where if you look at his snap count, he only played 18 snaps, but he almost ran around on every single play that he was on the field. So it's bad that he played low number of snaps, but it's good that he's on obvious passing situations, he's in there and he's running routes. And that's the highest correlation between tight end and fantasy points, is how many times that they're in the game are they running a route, which he's doing a lot. Ken's at 8 for 8. All right, let's get it. Anyways, let me go into... So I talked about defense. I talked about tight end. I haven't really talked about wide receiver, which I'm going to do that real quick just so you guys can get off in 10, 15 minutes. Oh, yeah, 8 for 8 catching, right? Yeah, he's a beast. That's what I'm saying, where it's he's in the game. He had a long touchdown pass. Long passes. He had touchdowns from... His touchdown was from Robert Griffin III, but they're still going to use him the same. But I touched on quarterback. I touched on defense. I touched on tight end. And running back, I haven't really touched on wide receivers except for Sammy Watkins. So let me just clear this. Actually, keep it. It doesn't matter. Wide receivers at the top. It's tough for me to decide between DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Thomas. Let me know in the stream, guys. Just in chat right now, type either Hopkins or Michael Thomas because they're pretty much the same price. Who do you like more this week? Just raw projections. Personally, I obviously think that DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the league. We saw a very rare 2 drops. I don't know if they could even call them drops. They didn't say anything. He's limited in practice. But 13 targets. I think Michael Thomas also had 13 targets, and he had 10 catches. I think they both had 13 targets. Let me just double check. They both had 13 targets. One of them had 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the difference is 34 points or 25 points. The last time in the regular season that Michael Thomas played against this opponent, the LA Rams, he had 200-plus receiving yards. So I understand that. And Hopkins has a much tougher battle in Jalen Ramsey. I think in cash I'm leaning Hopkins, but Michael Thomas is 100% my GPP play and a fine cash play. My 3 favorite expensive wide receivers in cash are DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Thomas, and Sammy Watkins at 7,200. Marcus said D-Hop had 3 drops? Wow, there's 3 drops. I don't think he dropped a pass all last season. Tell me this, right? In week 1, Hopkins drops 3 passes, and Tyler Lockett drops 1 of 2 targets. Neither of them had a drop in the last 2 years, I think, combined. And they both dropped, a combined 4 passes, is what Marcus is saying, in week 1. That's nuts. But I like them at the top. For the new year, new them. Diop had a few tough ones. Yeah, like I was saying during the game when I was watching it, it kind of sucked that D-Hop. There was one, I don't know if you guys remember the play. There was one where the defender had run up and he just barely missed it, jumping up for it, but he mistimed the ball, and Hopkins dropped it. And it sucked because he could have dropped that. He could have caught a 40-yard pass. But if Watson had put that ball 15 yards or 10 yards ahead, that's a 70-yard touchdown because the defender is so high. the defender was in such a bad position. So, yeah, it's a combination of bad play by Watson. Do you break down pricing plays on FanDuel, or do you just prefer DK? I have not been on FanDuel in a grip. I wonder if I even have my account login still. Let me go to FanDuel. FanDuel. Wow, I still have my account login. I have 23 bucks over here. Let's make a lineup, guys. For the last 10 minutes of this episode, let's make a lineup on FanDuel. Because I haven't looked at this pricing because I don't really play FanDuel. Let's do a full roster. Let's do a GPP, obviously. We're trying to bank a tournament. We're not trying to go play cash. We're not trying to, play this $9 conservatively. Let's bank the Millie Maker. Let's look at their salary. I don't even know what their salary looks like comparatively. We have to play the same amount of players. QB, running back, 3 receivers, tight end, flex, defense. So it's the same lineup. I know that the main difference is that FanDuel is half-point PPR instead of full-point PPR. So let's start with just throwing in a cheap defense. Wow, see, the thing that you don't get on DraftKings, if you go to defense, right, the most expensive is $3,900, the cheapest is $2,000, right? So that's $1,900 difference, almost $2K. But the difference between the most expensive defense at $5,000 or $2,500, you can get even more leverage on playing a cheaper defense on FanDuel than you can on DraftKings, which I do like. Dolphins, hell no. Raiders, hell no. Cardinals, no. Redskins, no. Basically, we're looking for an opposing team that's going to pass the ball a lot. Giants, that could be a good play at $3,500 against Josh Allen. I like Josh Allen, but he's still turnover prone. Let's just build this lineup, right? Jacksonville Jaguars, $3,800. Cool. We're going to get cheap with it. Quarterback, Patrick Mahomes at $9K. Wow. We have $60K to start. $7,000 left per player. Lamar Jackson, $8,200. Let's see if anybody stands out. Jared Goff at $7,600, which I like. We could do that Josh Allen stack with John Brown if we want. Find a player, John Brown. Cool, let's stack that. Let's go tight ends. TJ Hawkins is priced up over here. Anybody we really like that could just go off? Not really. Let's go Eric Ebron, because nobody's going to be on Eric Ebron. $5,700. Running backs. Saquon's the most expensive. Alvin Kamara. Austin Eckler. I love Austin Eckler. It's a little bit expensive. Actually, because it's a little bit expensive, let's go there, because I feel like he's going to be lower owned at that price point. What else can we do that's pretty cool? No, fuck that. Who cares, guys? I'm just kidding. We're not going to build a lineup on FanDuel. Basically, the game starts in 10 minutes. I'm going to let you guys go with this. Let me know what you guys are planning for this lineup if you're playing this Thursday night. I appreciate you guys for hanging around for the live stream. I will be live Sunday morning, 11 a.m. I appreciate it if you guys come stop by and say what's up. If not, I'll talk to you in the next one. Score predictions before you go for tonight. I'm going to go with 34-21 Carolina Panthers. Take care, you guys.